Once upon a time, there was a young man named Siddhartha who lived in a small village in India. He was a curious and thoughtful young man who often found himself pondering the meaning of life. He wondered why people suffered and what the purpose of life was. One day, Siddhartha decided to leave his village and seek answers to these questions. He left behind his family, friends, and the only life he had ever known in search of enlightenment. As he journeyed through the countryside, Siddhartha met many people and had many experiences. He met holy men and women who offered him guidance and advice, and he witnessed firsthand the suffering of others. Despite all of his experiences, Siddhartha still could not find the answers he was looking for. He continued his journey, traveling farther and farther from his village until he eventually found himself in a dense forest. As he wandered through the forest, Siddhartha stumbled upon a group of monks who were meditating in a clearing. He watched them for a while, fascinated by the stillness and serenity that seemed to emanate from them. One of the monks noticed Siddhartha and approached him. "Greetings, young traveler," he said. "What brings you to our humble home in the forest?" Siddhartha explained that he was on a quest for enlightenment and that he had traveled far and wide in search of answers. The monk listened intently, then smiled. "I believe that the life you seek is not far," he said. "It is within you." Siddhartha was taken aback. He had never considered that the answers he was seeking could be found within himself. He thanked the monk and spent the rest of the day meditating in the clearing with the other monks. Over the next few days, Siddhartha remained in the forest, meditating and reflecting on the monk's words. As he sat in silence, he began to realize that he had been looking for something outside of himself that he already possessed within. He realized that the key to enlightenment was not to seek it out, but to allow it to emerge from within. The monk had shown him the path, but it was up to Siddhartha to follow it. With this newfound understanding, Siddhartha set out on a new journey, one that would lead him inward instead of outward. He spent many years in meditation and self-reflection, and eventually became known as the Buddha, or Enlightened One. The Buddha spent the rest of his life teaching others the path to enlightenment, encouraging them to look within themselves for the answers they sought. He showed them that the life they were looking for was not far, but right inside of them. The story of Siddhartha and the monk is a powerful reminder that the answers we seek are often closer than we realize. We don't need to travel to far-off lands or seek out gurus and holy men to find meaning and purpose in our lives. Instead, we can look inward and trust that the wisdom we need is already within us. By taking the time to quiet our minds and listen to our inner voice, we can discover the life we seek and find true peace and happiness. We may not all become Buddhas, but we can all find our own path to enlightenment and live a life that is truly fulfilling. As the Buddha continued to teach others the path to enlightenment, he encountered people from all walks of life who were seeking answers to the same questions he had once asked. He taught them about the Four Noble Truths, that suffering exists, that suffering is caused by craving and attachment, that suffering can be overcome, and that the path to the end of suffering is the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path consisted of 8 steps that one could follow to achieve enlightenment: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The Buddha emphasized that following these steps was not an easy or quick fix, but a lifelong journey of self-discovery and growth. Many people were drawn to the Buddha's teachings and became his disciples, learning from him and spreading his message throughout India and beyond. The Buddha's teachings became known as Buddhism and continue to be followed by millions of people around the world to this day. As the Buddha grew older, he continued to teach and spread his message until he passed away at the age of 80. His teachings, however, continue to live on and inspire people to this day. The story of Siddhartha and the monk teaches us that the answers we seek are often closer than we realize. We don't need to search outside of ourselves for meaning and purpose, but rather look within and trust in our own inner wisdom. By following the path of self-discovery and growth, we can find enlightenment and live a truly fulfilling life. The Buddha's teachings remind us that life is full of suffering, but that suffering can be overcome through the cultivation of wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness. By following the Eightfold Path and embracing these qualities, we can find peace and happiness both within ourselves and in the world around us. In conclusion, the story of Siddhartha and the monk serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of self-discovery and growth. By looking within ourselves and cultivating wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness, we can find the life we seek and live a truly fulfilling existence.